It's good, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Well, before I do this show on the LA riots anniversary, I want to say with sad news that Naomi Judd has passed on today at the age of 76. She was in a country music duo with her daughter, Winona Judd. And Winona and Ashley Judd, the actress, put out a statement saying, "Today, we sisters experienced a tragedy. We lost our beautiful mother to the disease of mental illness. We are shattered. We are navigating profound grief and know that as we loved her, she was loved by her public. We are in unknown territory." So, from what I know, she's been battling depression for years. And based off that statement they put out, unfortunately, she, lost her battle. So rest in peace to her. And also, she and her daughter was supposed to be inducted in the Country Music Hall of Fame, which was supposed to be tomorrow. And they were also supposed to go on tour sometime this year. And they just not too long ago performed together at the CMA Awards. So yeah, rest in peace to her. And condolences to the family. Okay, so as you can see, well, technically it was yesterday, the LA riots anniversary. 30 years. That's boy, time has really gone by. And when the LA riots went down, yeah, I was a toddler, so I don't remember none of that stuff. So, anyways, that happened back in April 29th, 1992. And this was really groundbreaking because, back then, right, when people would say how they were experiencing police brutality, you would only hear it from word of mouth. So when that went down with Rodney King and someone actually recorded it, that was very groundbreaking. And people knew, like, hey, since it's recorded, surely these police officers are going to get fucked over or whatever. So they got off, the 4 officers who beat up Rodney King. And the community just rioted. They were pissed off. And prior to that, prior to the Rodney King beating, there was also an incident with this teenager by the name of Letitia something. I forgot her last name. But she was murdered by this Korean lady at a store. She accused this teenager of stealing orange juice, and they had a struggle or whatever, and she shot her in the back of the head. So that's another thing they were dealing with alongside the Rodney King beating. And the lady, who worked at the store, she was only had probation. She didn't get no jail time and had to do community service and got away with that. So, yeah. Hey, LA, how are you? So, yeah, was that going on as well? And like I said, I was a toddler during that time, but That was considered a big deal back then. And so, the riots was going on. Things were getting burnt down. People were looting. This person says those riots sparked the gang truce between the Crips and Bloods didn't last, though. Yeah, they did have a truce at one point, and then there was looting and burning up the city or whatever. But yeah, that situation with Rodney King, it was. I mean, it was a big because back then, like we do now, like we have our phones. If we record some shit popping off, we got that now. But back then that was considered a big deal because it wasn't done before they record something taking place. That was a big deal back then. That was considered viral. And the guy who recorded, he's passed away or whatever. So yeah, and then we saw that incident where a white truck driver got pulled out of his truck and the people were beating him up and all of that. And one of the people who beat that truck driver up, he said he don't regret doing what he did or whatever. He still say this to this day because he feel like that's no comparison to how blacks were being mistreated and beat up and all that stuff. And a Black Samaritan saved that guy because he could have lost his life. So a Black Samaritan helped that truck driver. And then during that, no police officers try to help or anything. Like they just allow the city to be in flames and stuff. And so the Korean store owners, they had to fend for themselves. Hey Duncanstein, how are you? Yeah, so they had to fend for themselves and they were strapped. And they came from military backgrounds because in Korea, like you have, if especially a man, like you have to join the military. It's mandatory. So they had that in their background. So they were strapped. Law enforcement wasn't take care of shit, so they just was out there fending for themselves. And it's already been like bad vibes between the Koreans and blacks as black people felt like Koreans didn't like respect black people or treat them like they were thieves or whatever. Felt like they were taking over their neighborhoods. I remember seeing that scene from Mrs. Society, how in the opening of the movie, how the Koreans were just being like discriminatory towards the black customers and talking shit towards Lorenz Tate character. Like it says, when black people riot, it's the only time we understand who the enemy is. And the thing is, like, riots been going on. Like, this is not the first incident. Like, we had the Watts riots back in 1965 when Martin Luther King died. We rioted. I mean, this is nothing new under the sun. But yeah, it was a whole lot of shit going on during that time period, and the blacks in that community were just like fed up. So they burned the city down. And there's still like stores that wasn't recovered or whatever to this day. Yeah, and the riots went on for 5 days until they had the National Guard involved in all of that. Then they cleaned up the community. And I remember, and a fun fact for y'all, I don't know if you noticed in Poetic Justice, right? Like when Janet Jackson's character was driving, you can still see the aftermath from the LA riots if you were paying attention to the movie. That's a fun fact for y'all. LA says when Terrence Shern, my homeboy, was killed by the cops, there was no gang violence or beef in the hood for at least a month. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I wish that whole gang culture wasn't a thing. Like, cause it's like at the end of the fucking day, like none of that shit matters. Like your biggest enemy are the people that's in charge. For real, for real. And you know, at one point, the Bloods and the Crips did get along, and had a truce during that time period, and then it all stopped. But I wish like gangs weren't beefing with other gangs. I wish that wasn't still going on. MJ says Bloods and Crips don't beef in LA. Shut the fuck up. Anyways, you shut the fuck up. Anyways, and you're not in a gang, so you're a fake blood. Thank you very much. So, anyways, yeah, but they had a truce at one point. And then you had the Latinos getting involved in the during that time period. And the thing is, like, the Koreans, when they first came to this country, it was like a language barrier, culture barrier. And so, Koreans and blacks wasn't seen eye to eye during that period or whatever. And the powers that be, they love to portray immigrants like, oh, they're model citizens or whatever, trying to have a wedge between them and black people, like trying to tell the black people, hey, look at them doing well. Why can't you be like them? Seriously. And then it was this whole, and that's why people kind of was rocking with OJ during that whole trial, because they felt like, hey, it's payback how you handle that whole Rodney King shit. So yeah. LA says they gave the black dude that hit regional Denny in the head with a brick about 15 years, then give the cops no time for being Rodney King. Yeah, that was some bullshit, and they had it on video. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you had the shit on video, and you still allow them officers to walk. Hey, still Stroll Black, how are you? So like, do you any of y'all know where y'all were at when the LA riots was going on? Because like I said, I was a toddler during that time, so I don't remember none of that shit. I was a toddler, so yeah. And during even NWA, like they came out with that song "Fuck the Police" before any of this taking place. Like they foresaw what was gonna happen. A lot of these rappers back then, they talked about police brutality, and some people would be like criticizing the music they put out, but they're just rapping about things that going on in their neighborhoods. They were considered like the CNN of rap or whatever. So they're just giving out the news and music. So yeah. What's up, LA?
What's popping? What's popping?
What's up?
So you say
So
you
do
was a
you
top?
remember you said
Oh yeah,
what?
I remember. I remember the riots real good.
Okay, what you remember about it?
Well, they had all the videos out there, because we know we had some riot. We had a riot in our city as well when my homeboy got killed, and with the riots, the riots over Rodney King, they was fucking motherfuckers up. But the problem with that is they be giving motherfuckers football numbers for participating in these riots, even if nobody don't get killed. But like I said, they didn't get the cops no fucking time, and they had that shit on. I mean, that shit was. If you seen the video of them beating Rodney King, that was attempted murder.
Yeah, it was. Like that was some bullshit. Like how you have it on video and still allow them officers to walk. And unfortunately, these cops always get away with this shit. Like even when got these motherfuckers on camera, they still find a way to get away with it. And
Well, it's
nothing
gonna.
has really even changed since that happened.
Well, quick question: Are we in a place right now where we can start shooting cops before they get a chance to shoot us, and we can blame it on fear?
Well, when the moment you start doing that, you're gonna get more time, or you lose your life in the process.
Well, I feel like you got a good lawyer. You should be able to prove fear. They prove fear. They get off on. They get off saying they were scared.
Yeah, but they have the law behind them. They are the fucking law. They get away with stuff off the strength of them having a badge.
I think that we should start jumping out of our cars and fucking these cops up when they try to motherfucker do some shit like that to black people. That's what I believe. Cause
Yeah, well,
just standing around saying stop. No, I think we should start doing a citizen arrest. Once the cops' brutality gets criminal, we should be able to do a citizen arrest.
and they've been getting away with this for years. Like, this is nothing new. Understand this been going on before the Rodney King shit, and it's continuing to go on after it. Like, I don't see a change at all. Like, that's why we have Black Lives Matter. We got all this going on, and nothing has changed. And this
Well,
is another.
Randy SoCal said he was a part of the shit. So he just didn't care. He didn't get no time. But he need to get up here and click up here and tell us what
Yeah,
popped
click.
off.
Yeah, click the link, Randy. You're from LA. Click the link.
Yeah, you was right there. See the riots we had, you can look it up. We had some riots. Look up Terrence Sherm, police officer kills Terrence Sherm. Man, we made the news. We was all over CNN and everything. We had tanks riding down our street. They was flipping it. This was crazy. A couple of people had flipped over a news van and they hit a white reporter in the head with a rock. And they gave him motherfucker like 40 years.
Wow,
40 years for throwing a rock.
that's crazy. And even like the police off, like even the whole police force itself, like they were formed from being slave catchers back in the days. Like if a slave ran away, they would use these slave catchers to find these slaves to bring them back to the plantation. So that's how the police force was really formed. So it runs deep.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, like that's what they're for. That's what they were originated to catch slaves. They still catching slaves. We still slaves. It ain't changed.
Just a different year.
They value our lives. They value our lives less than they value their property.
Yeah, we were property.
Well, but they valued us more back when we were their property than they do now. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
they need us to build this
Like
country.
like back in the days, if you
Uh,
killed a slave, you was killing somebody's property. You was taking away from their money. So they gave more of a fuck about our lives back when we were slaves than they do now.
yeah, then and that's another thing, like, after they got rid of slavery, they formed something else, when they're locking them up, which was prison. They needed more workers. So, and even when you look at the amendment, right? 13th Amendment, it says slavery is over. Exceptions are when you're a
When you commit a
criminal.
crime, when you commit
Yeah.
a crime, all of your human and civil rights can be violated.
This shit runs deep. It's like even like when you get in trouble, right? Say you got a felony or whatever, you can't vote, can't own a
Oh
gun, you
my,
can't do none of
nah.
those things.
Oh my God. Should I just ignore that last comment he just made, or should I say something? That was ridiculous.
Which one?
Randy SoCal, that was ridiculous.
Let's
He
see.
called himself trying to make you jealous, I guess.
Mm,
Wow. Oh,
okay.
are you mad? You mad she's up here talking to me? Why don't you click the link and come talk to her? Wow. And make sure y'all support Harley shows, man. Make sure y'all support all the shows, man. Y'all gotta stop hating, man. Shout out to Harley Quinn, man. Y'all gotta stop the hating, bro.
What's up? I can share. So yeah, it really runs deep. It really does with this whole shit going on. And nothing has really changed at all. So yeah. So anyways, touched on that. I also wanted to bring attention to recently about Black China and her suing the Kardashians over defamation. She also blames them for her reality show getting canceled years ago. And so her defamation case got thrown out. They're still in court for that, for other stuff. And Rob Kardashian, he came out saying how he never loved her and saying how he wasn't thinking when he got with her. Then Kylie also brought up how she was threatening her via text during the time when she was with her ex Tyga and all of that. And as far as that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation, honestly, I just think they're volatile people in general in the relationship. Like, I don't see any innocent bystanders. And there is also in the text he texts that actor guy Paul Bettany or whatever. He was saying how he wants to kill her and have sex with her dead corpse or some crazy shit like that. So they're just very volatile people in general, just very dysfunctional. And Johnny Depp, he already lost that other case that was in the UK or whatever. So yeah. And also, Whitney Houston will have a biopic this year. They already cast the actress. She's a British actress by the name of Naomi Aki, and it's going to be out in December of this year. We shall see how that film goes. Also, Elijah Kelly will be cast in Davis Jr. biopic. And I think he's a good actor. He was good in New Edition Story. He was also in Hairspray remake and all of that. And I hope they touch on a lot on Sammy Davis' life. I really wanted Tommy Davidson to play him. He had his he had his imitation down pack. Thought he would have did a good job. But he's older now, so yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Harley?
Yeah. You
Oh yeah,
said you
I had to,
yeah,
go
so
ahead.
you wanna talk about the LA riots?
Yes, just for a second. Yeah, I was in the LA riots in '92. I was 9 years old. You know, 63 people died that day. It was wild. Can you
How
hear
did
me?
you yeah, how did you feel during that time when that was taking place?
Um, I, I was young. I was like 9 years old at the time, and I just remember people, right? My
Okay.
phone is slipping. I can't even hear you.
I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I remember people like breaking into stores, riots, like people just stealing, and I was like a participant in the riots and stuff. But I didn't see setting on fires or nothing. But I remember stealing and stuff. You know, sucker soakers, clothes, bikes. We was just like stealing in my neighborhood. It was wrong, but you know, I was young at the time,
Right.
and 12,000 people got arrested too. So they burned down 1,100 buildings, I believe, at that time. It was wild, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. That was like, you know what I'm saying, racially motivated. You know what I'm saying. They beat him, Rodney King, like they almost killed him, you know, because he was black. You know.
Yeah, they just always get away with shit. Even
Yeah.
when you report them, they always get away
Yep,
with
and
the
they got
shit.
like yep acquitted too. That's what still started the riots with A-Trick Gangster Crips. You know what I'm saying? They just got fed up and just started the riot. And I knew like Rodney King too. He used to live in my neighborhood in Rialto, California. So I knew him too personally too. He lived on my street here in Rialto off of Jackson Street. Yeah, he drowned into 2012.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I knew him. So yeah, so I just had to speak, but yeah. So that's all I wanted to say, though, Harley. You know,
Okay, that's cool.
yeah, I'm about to log off because yeah, sometimes I get shy like talking to you because you're so beautiful. That's why. Okay, you have a great day, Harley.
All right, you
All right,
too.
peace, everyone.
All right. So yeah, covered that, and also Eddie Murphy was cast in George Clinton biopic. So he will be portraying George Clinton in a biopic. That's an interesting casting, but yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Thanks everyone for stopping through. And MJ, shut the fuck up. You drunk bastard, you. All right, peace.